Hello and welcome to TI Now. We're here at Mobile World Congress Americas 2017 in San Francisco. We're joined today by two executives of Spirent, Dave Garrison, Senior Director of Product Development and Product Management, as well as Rajat Agarwal, Director of Business Development with Spirent. Gentlemen, thank you both for joining us today.
Thank you.
Great to be here, John.
Could you, Rajat, tell us a bit about Spirent and your position in the marketplace?
Yeah, Spirent is a test and measurement company. We are around $500 million a year. We have three main segments. One is the network and services, where people like Cisco and the Ericsson kind of infrastructure vendors use us to make sure that the network elements are developed and tested properly. The second segment we have is lifecycle assurance. That is more for monitoring your live networks as they are in operation. So people like Verizon might use them for monitoring it and making corrective actions on the fly. And the third area, which is where Dave and I are focused on, is the connected devices, which is about wireless device and infrastructure testing, right from 2G to 5G right now.
We're hearing a lot, Dave, about 5G here at Mobile
Sure.
World Congress Americas, and we've heard a lot about it in the industry overall in the last months and years. Is the groundwork really being laid now for 5G, and what are you hearing in the marketplace?
Sure, definitely. So, as you know, the large-scale deployments won't happen for a few more years, but all the major infrastructure providers and device providers are already developing their initial prototypes for 5G. And especially you hear about field trials going on now, so lots and lots of activity as investment shifts from the legacy network 4G into 5G and preparing for that.
Now, of course, having myself been in this industry for quite a while, I'm wondering, is this just another G? Right. And perhaps you can, Rajat, give your view on that.
Yeah, so adding on to some of what Dave said, actually people also classify 5G into two buckets. One is the high-speed data. So you can see people like Qualcomm or Nokia or Ericsson showing you speeds blasting off at like more than a gig, north of more than a gig over wireless, which is pretty phenomenal. So that is one part of where the technology is heading, which is kind of a normal evolution of higher speed and higher bandwidth. The other part, which a lot of people are also put under the 5G umbrella, is the Internet of Things, right? IoT, which is all about low power devices, lots of devices, your toaster or your oven, everything having connectivity and being able to monitor them. So there are different challenges going on 5G in both realms. On the high-speed data, hey, lots of antenna arrays and stuff coming along, but on the IoT side, you can see so many competing standards which are still there, and the challenge is which of these standards will standardize, and that's what people are on the sidelines on, figuring out what to do next.
And would you concur with that?
Definitely. So, like Rajat was saying, lots of new technology will need to be developed and deployed to meet the goals of what 5G is trying to accomplish in the market, both at the high end and high data rate, low latency situations, and also at the high volume IoT market.
I was speaking earlier with some folks at Sprint and also Verizon regarding massive MIMO and some of the tests that they're running. Those are examples of the type of, from a speed perspective, what's necessary to implement.
Yes.
And back on your point, Rajat, about IoT from a development perspective, is that further down the field? Is it the speeds that have to be achieved first, or are these sort of dual tracked?
These are all dual track, so lots of experimentation on the IoT front, right? It's all about all these small standards that some localized bodies have almost come out with, things like LoRa, Zigbee, and some of these. Some of these are getting more traction because people like Google might be behind them, right? So it depends on, like the challenge there is, hey, how do I get my main hub into your home, right? So you'll see the Amazon putting their appliance in your house, or Google competing for that. One is the getting the devices into your home, and the other thing is about, hey, how do I put the chip inside your bulb or all those other toaster oven kind of things, and seeing that I can monitor that device for 10 years with really low power consumption and and that's pretty much it at very low power data rate. So the data rate is not the issue, it's more about the longevity and the reliability of the communication. On the other side, for the higher speed, the challenge is more about like this massive MIMO kind of things which are needed for packing that data into the physical spectrum which is available and making it optimized, which is where our solutions are widely used. And I'll let Dave maybe elaborate on that a little bit.
So when we're trying to get these high data rates in 5G, they can't fit them in the existing spectrum that they have. So first you need more bandwidth, so they're having to go up in much higher frequencies, millimeter wave frequencies, where they can get wider bandwidths. But there's propagation problems up at those frequencies, so they're having to develop these massive MIMO beamforming antenna arrays to try to get the data down to the device. And these are applications that you might have only heard about in military realms in the past. Now this is all moving to the commercial side, where we're going to have these massive MIMO antenna arrays with 32 or 64 antennas on a single antenna element, and trying to use these wide bandwidths to get the signal down to the user.
And we see about this beamforming, that's been a conversation I've heard throughout this show and in some other instances. And what's your view on the commercial availability of 5G? What are you hearing from a timeline perspective?
Sure. So, I mean, we're already seeing field trials now in different parts of the world. Some of the big carriers in North America are actively doing field trials for fixed applications for 5G. And they've done public announcements where they're going to be rolling out in tens of cities over the next 12 months. So you're going to see some of these more friendly trial networks being deployed in the very near term. We're going to see 5G being deployed at the Olympics coming up in Korea, and then wide-scale deployments following on that in a few years.
Yep. And in my interaction with some of the customers that I've been meeting with, right now a lot of vendors are claiming a lot of benefits of 5G, right? So where our solutions start playing a role is they're trying to get some test equipment which can be used to really figure out how valid are those claims, right? So that's where our solutions are being used right now, evaluating the claims of the different technology vendors. And so that's the phase that the real commercialization is in, and over the next year or so, the field trials will pick up around the world, and probably in 2020 kind of things, you'll see real big, large-scale deployments.
Rajat, Dave, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.